The most expensive thing a stranger ever took from you was a $7 coffee with your name spelled wrong. At 6:23 in the morning, your card declines twice, the line exhales behind you, and a man in a charcoal coat buys your coffee just long enough to steal it. The cup is already on the counter, black lid, brown sleeve, your name written as Kevin in blue marker, even though that is not your name. He reaches past your shoulder, drops a 10 beside the register, and says, "I'll take care of it." Then he picks up the cup. Not his, yours. He walks toward platform 4 holding it by the lid, 30 feet away, while the cashier says, "Next." You will spend 30 years trying to get that cup back, and when it finally returns, the question will not be whether you can afford it. The question will be whether you can leave it in someone else's hand. Level 1, $0. At $0, strangers do not hate you. Hate would require them to stop and look. They sort you in pieces. Broken zipper, loose shoe sole, phone screen cracked across the time. At the pharmacy, the security guard follows you 12 feet back, then pretends to straighten vitamins whenever you turn around. At the laundromat, a woman moves her detergent 2 machines away after looking at your backpack. Nobody says anything sharp. That is the sharp part. Back at the cafe, the cashier says, "Do you have another card?" So softly the whole room hears it. You pat 4 pockets and find 1 dime, a bus receipt, and a key to a place you no longer live. Behind you, someone shifts their weight. That sound becomes a language. When the man buys the coffee and takes it, nobody corrects him. The line relaxes because the problem has walked away from the counter. You step outside with empty hands and coffee breath in your mouth from a drink you never tasted. 72 hours later, your phone lights up. A job app you forgot about says, "Can you start tomorrow at 5:40? This becomes the first rule. Good news arrives. You breathe for 3 days. Then the request arrives, wearing a stranger's voice. At $0, help does not belong to you. It lands where it lands. And level 2 is worse, because now strangers can see you trying. Level 2, $211.47. You have enough money to pay, as long as the world does not move. Your bank app says $211.47 outside a phone repair shop with a bell tied to the door by red string. The man behind the counter turns your cracked phone over once and says, "Not worth fixing." How much? He taps a calculator. 89. You laugh once, too fast, then glance at the newer phone in the hand behind you. He sees you see it. You want to think about it? You are not a customer yet. You are a delay. At the grocery store, the total climbs past $32, and you remove the orange juice before the cashier asks. She drops it in the return bin with 1 finger. No problem. The cup returns 2 weeks later. Same cafe, same black lid. This time you pay $7.18. Your hand touches the sleeve first. A woman beside you says, "Sorry, is that mine?" You hand it over before checking. She sips, frowns, and says, "Oh, this is yours." Now her lipstick is on the lid. She offers it back with 2 fingers, and you say, "It's fine," because sometimes dignity is pretending not to want what you paid for. 3 days later, the job texts, "Can you cover Saturday? Cash after shift." You answer yes in 9 seconds. Relief. 72 hours. A hook. But level 3 is where strangers start smiling, and the smile is not free. Level 3. $3,800. You own a clean jacket now. Not nice, just clean enough that nobody removes you from the room before you speak. The first time it works, you are in an apartment lobby, holding a paper cup with a lid that actually seals. The doorman looks up. Morning? 1 word. It lands like a raise. Yesterday, in a delivery hoodie, you carried someone else's Thai food through this lobby, and he stared at the elevator doors until you disappeared. Today, your hair is combed, your jacket has buttons, and the cup rises in your right hand like identification. Morning, you say back, half a second late. At this level, strangers upgrade their guesses. A woman holds the elevator. The barista says, "The usual?" after 3 visits. A cashier says, "Nice watch," though it costs $26 online and loses 4 minutes a week. Respect arrives before proof. That is why it works. For 11 days it feels clean. Then you post a photo of your new office badge. 72 hours later, an old coworker texts, "Random question, are they hiring over there?" Not congratulations. Access. At lunch, a man notices the company logo on your badge and leans in 2 inches. "I hear they pay pretty well." Your name is spelled correctly on the cup now. You turn the sleeve away from him. The cup is no longer something strangers take. It is something they read. Level 4 is the soft part, which makes the next part hurt more. Level 4, $28,900. You are not rich. You are just no longer performing survival in public. On Fridays, the cafe near your office has a window table where sunlight reaches the edge at 8:07. You sit there with the lid off your coffee. Steam goes straight up. A stranger with a laptop asks, "Anyone here?" You say no. He sits. For 21 minutes, neither of you tries to become useful. He tells you his dog ate half a sock. You tell him your landlord fixes everything with silver tape. He laughs so hard coffee comes out of his nose. It is disgusting. It is the best thing all week. For 21 minutes, nobody is networking. It feels illegal. For once, the cup just sits between you. Not proof, not rescue, not bait. A woman in the hallway tells you there is spinach in your teeth with her hand covering her own mouth, like she is protecting you from the room. Small mercy has room to breathe. Then you help the laptop stranger get an interview. 72 hours after the good news, he texts, "Could you put in a real word with the manager? Like really push?" There it is. The hand under the table. You do push. He gets hired. Then he stops sitting by the window, because now you are not a person from a coffee shop. You are a lever inside a building. Level 5 is where comfort becomes choreography. Level 5, $112,000 a year. The first stranger to call you sir is younger than you, wearing a vest in a hotel lobby that smells like lemon water. "Good evening, sir." He takes your bag before you decide whether you want help. His hand closes around the handle. Yours opens because the room has already voted. The bag moves away from you. So does the old version. Doors open when you are 6 steps away. People apologize when you bump into them. A server does not ask if you want water. She asks, "Still or sparkling tonight?" Like you and water have a file. Your coffee arrives in a white ceramic cup. No marker, no lid. The handle is turned toward your right hand. Someone noticed. That tiny rotation follows you home. Now comfort has fingerprints. Someone refills before you ask. Someone laughs at your quiet joke with timing that may be real, or may be rent. A friend of a friend says, "We should grab coffee," while his phone is already open to your contact. 71 hours after your promotion, a cousin texts, "Can I ask you something embarrassing?" The pattern is getting faster. You still check prices. $7.18, $89, $211.47. The old math runs under the new suit. You just do it with your face arranged better. But level 6 is where kindness begins arriving before you do. Level 6, $1.7 million. The number appears in an email from your accountant at 9:13 p.m. You cross the threshold. You read it barefoot in your kitchen, while a delivery bag sits on the counter. Inside is a coffee cup with your full name printed on a sticker. First and last. No handwriting. No mistake. Now strangers know where to aim. A real estate agent says, "I saw your interview." A founder at dinner says, "We have a mutual friend." A man in a linen shirt at a charity event touches your elbow and says, "I've followed your journey." You have never seen his face. The coffee is no longer handed to you. It is sent. Assistants order it. Hotels remember it. Meeting rooms produce it before your chair is pulled out. The cup moves toward you without your asking. Every unasked for thing carries a hook. A private banker invites you to breakfast. He knows your birthday, your company, your sale, and the watch you bought yourself after the first big check. He laughs and says, "People like you need protection from people like me." Good line. Too good. 72 hours later, his assistant sends documents with fees hidden on page 19. At this level, strangers do not take your coffee. They bring it and wait for something larger. Level 7 is where admiration becomes a locked room. Level 7, $84 million. Your name appears on a conference screen. The audience applauds before you speak, which means they are not applauding the sentence. They are applauding the number attached to you. Backstage, a woman with a headset gives you a black cup with your initials embossed into the sleeve. Not written. Pressed in. A photographer says, "Hold that." You lift the cup. Flash. Now your coffee is content. Strangers become mirrors angled toward you. They laugh sooner. They agree faster. They quote lines you barely remember saying. If you mention a book, 3 people write it down. If you say you are tired, someone calls it discipline. The dangerous part is not that all of it is fake. The dangerous part is that some of it is real. You are sharper now. You have survived rooms that would have eaten the old you whole. You can hear a request forming 6 minutes before it becomes words. At the after party, a man says, "You changed my life." You ask how. He says, "Your mindset." He cannot name one sentence. 72 hours and 9 minutes later, his text arrives at 11:46 p.m. "I hate to ask, but could you invest?" Your phone lies face down beside the black cup. The cup is empty. Your initials face the wall. For the first time, you miss being ignored. Because level 8 is not about getting attention. It is about becoming someone people edit themselves around. Level 8, $10 billion. At $10 billion, strangers are softened before they reach you. They are screened, scheduled, briefed, walked through hallways, offered water, and reminded not to ask for photos. A driver says good morning through the rearview mirror, then says nothing else because someone trained him perfectly. A hotel manager greets you by name while pretending not to notice security. At breakfast, a waiter drops a spoon 3 tables away. He looks at your security guard before he looks at the floor. That is new. People no longer just want something from you. They are afraid of changing the air around you. A museum director says, "Whatever you prefer," before you have preferred anything. A mayor laughs 1 second too early. A founder stops halfway through a joke because your face did not move. You have become weather. The coffee sits beside contracts thick enough to hold a door open. It arrives in porcelain, silver, glass, whatever the room believes a person like you should touch. No one asks if you can pay. Everyone asks what you want. That is when wanting becomes difficult. At $0, the request waited 72 hours. At 10 billion, it waits 2 hours and 17 minutes. Wealth did not remove the pattern. It made the pattern faster. Your fund closes at 10:02 in the morning. At 12:19, the first request arrives. A minister, a founder, a school, a brother of someone you met once in Zurich. You start watching hands. Who holds the cup? Who moves it? Who leaves it alone? This is the final trade. You can protect yourself until no one can touch you, or you can stay open and let every hand leave a mark. Then, one winter morning, 30 years after Platform 4, your car stops 6 blocks from the old station cafe. The sign is faded. The windows are fogged. The floor still sticks near the sugar counter. You tell the driver, "Pull over." Your security lead turns. "Here?" "Here." Inside, the line is listening to a young man with a broken backpack and one shoe sole lifting at the front. His card reader blinks red. On the counter waits a $7 coffee, black lid, brown sleeve, wrong name in blue marker. The cashier says softly, "Do you have another one?" Your hand moves toward your wallet. Then it stops. 30 years of rooms pass through your fingers. You finally see the cup clearly. It was never about getting it back. It was about not becoming the hand that takes it. You place a $10 bill on the counter and slide it toward the cashier. "That one stays with him," you say. The cashier pushes the cup toward the young man. Not toward you, toward him. His hand closes around the sleeve. The lid bends under his thumb. The wrong name faces his chest, and this time the cup moves in the right direction. Outside, your driver opens the car door. You sit in the back seat empty-handed. For the first time, the drink is gone, and nothing has been stolen. If this one stayed with you, leave a thought below.